Welcome to our channel. Enjoyed this content? Don't miss out on more. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for exciting updates and videos. Remember, your support is what keeps us going, and we're truly thankful to have such an incredible community of viewers like you. Let's continue this journey together and make our channel even bigger and better. Stay tuned for more awesome content. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I've liked games since I was young. The reason is simple. Since I was always in the hospital when I was a kid, there was naturally nothing to do but play games, and as time passed, games became a part of my life. But if you do anything for a long time, you will get bored and tired. Oh, shit, what's this AI thinking? Why are you giving a heal there? After some time, no matter what game I played, it wasn't as enjoyable as before. It wasn't a matter of genre, be it AOS, RPG, or FPS. It was all the same. All the games that came out every year were like garbage. The story and worldview adhered to the norm, and the system lacked depth. I wanted a game with something a little more special. Then I discovered Dungeon & Stone. Ta-da-it. Click, click. The genre was single-player RPG. It was an overseas indie game. There was no Korean language support, and it used 2D pixel graphics, which had already become rare. To be honest, it was far from my usual fare. Still, it was free, so I installed the game to give it a try, and soon I fell in love with it. Wow, I almost got killed like a newbie. It was a unique game in many ways. When your character died, you had to start again from scratch. NPC companions were essential for making progress, and the degree of freedom was also extremely high for a vertical scroller type game. The skill system and worldview were also attractive, and the story was interesting even though I had to read it in English. Crucially, I could feel something unknown but special in this game. Tat-it, tick-tap. I, who at the time had just started as a service worker assigned to the subway, began to delve into Dungeon & Stone in earnest. It wasn't easy. Combat in this game was not simply done with HP/MP. Even with full HP, if there is one misjudgment, the character that has been painstakingly nurtured for 3 months can disappear. Let's go. I couldn't even get to the mid-game for over 2 years, so I gave up my pride and searched for a strategy guide. I couldn't find any on the Korean portals, so I had to translate and read them from foreign sites, but even that didn't mean much. There were not many users abroad either, so there were few related articles with no useful information. Rather than those who played it for a month or two and called it ruined game, I, who had been seriously exploring this game for 2 years, had a much better understanding. So I stopped looking for a strategy. 3 times up, 4 times to the left, once down, twice to the left, 6 times to the top, 4 times to the right. Finally, avoid the trap. Okay. Wasn't this the only game I finally found while searching for one I could actually enjoy? After a while, I decided to just keep trying on my own. And, whoa. So, we have reached this point. Gates of the Abyss. Now my character is standing in front of the portal connected to the final boss room. Of course, seeing the ending will be after coming here several more times in the future. It's not a game where you can get the boss with just one try. Even so, I can feel how nervous I am right now from my stiff fingertips. The final boss, it may be nothing to some people. However, for me, it took 9 years to get here. It would not be an exaggeration to say that we were together all through my 20s. Even when the call for service workers got cancelled, as well as the day when I went back to school after a long time to apply for reinstatement, and the day I received a letter of acceptance to the job I wanted after graduation. I have always played Dungeon & Stone. Do you want to enter? As you approach the portal by manipulating the character, a question appears asking if you want to enter. Of course, I click yes. However, maybe since this is the final boss room, a different message is displayed once more. You may not be able to come back. Are you sure you want to enter? It's unnecessary from a player's point of view. If you don't want to enter, why would you come all the way here? Yes/no. As I click yes, the screen goes to the loading window. Looking at the darkened monitor, I raise my concentration. How many patterns does this guy have? What characteristics? Of course, there must also be an insta-kill move or two. Well, let's put aside the thought of succeeding on the first try and gather as much information as possible. Maybe I'll even have to completely redo the character build and skill combos. My brain, stimulated with excitement and anticipation, is filled with only the thoughts about the final boss. So, it was too late for me to notice. You have reached the Abyss tutorial complete. Tutorial complete? No, before that, how come these are Korean Hangul characters? Wasn't Dungeon and Stone only supported in English? Transmission begins? Just as I felt a sense of incongruity, a bright light burst out. The light was so intense that there's no possibility of it originating from the monitor. Damn it! My eyes. In an instant, everything turned white, ringing in the ears, and an unknown heat bursting from the skin. My thoughts quickly faded as if I had been injected with a fast-acting anesthetic. I was usually confident in my ability to cope with crises, but at this moment, I had no idea what was going on. Flash dash? I lost consciousness as the light grew stronger, and when I opened my eyes again, I was a barbarian in the game. If this is the beginning of a very, very unkind game, what am I supposed to do now? First, you understand the situation and get all the information you can. After that, I seemed to have come back to myself a little. Recalling the first task I set for myself, I slowly opened my eyes and checked my surroundings again. Unfortunately, nothing has changed from before. The fact is that I am in an open space, surrounded by a woods. Also, it's not some LED streetlights that illuminate the dark surroundings, but some flickering torches. Most striking fact of all, there are muscular savages everywhere you look. Congratulations, young warriors. Fuck, I'm not seeing things. I don't know what they're doing in the middle of the night, but their expressions are pretty reverent. Is that guy in the middle like a tribal chief? Well, doesn't matter. As of today, you will leave the Holy Land and be reborn as true warriors. I closed my eyes, letting out the presumed chief's words through one ear and out the other. I'm not a doctor, but if I were to self-diagnose, right now I have blackout symptoms. I don't know why I am here. Now, come out one by one and choose a weapon that suits you. So, let's reason things out. What was I doing just before this? As soon as I tried to recall to see if I'd had any brain problems, the memory immediately came to mind. I'd been playing a game. The final boss room was imminent, and I'd activated the portal while suppressing my excitement. Then, suddenly, some messages saying that the tutorial has been completed or that the transmission has begun appeared, and a bright light burst out. And now that I've come to my senses, somehow, it became even more confusing than before. Come out, Karak, third son of Farun. First, I decided to check the condition of my body. I didn't feel any pain, but you still have to check carefully. With that thought in mind, I bowed my head and stiffened. What is this? Two-handed axe? Great. The hands I looked down on were embarrassingly gigantic. And surprisingly, they moved according to my will. While I was at it, I checked the rest of me, and it was a spectacle. Not only was there no shirt, but tattoos of all types were drawn all over the solid upper body muscles. Yes, they all looked the same size, adjusted to the same level for this giant body. Once I cleared up the situation, no, really, there was nothing to clear up. For some reason, I had become a barbarian savage without realizing it. O Karak, third son of Farun. This makes you a warrior. Kidnappings, hidden cameras, psychological experiments, etc. I immediately erased all such possibilities from my mind. It would be foolish to twist the circuit of hope and forcibly fit the evidence even though the situation has already shown the key. It is more productive to admit the truth and move on. What is happening to me right now is something that science or modern knowledge cannot explain. Other than this large body, there are plenty of other evidence. Next. First of all, the language that these savages speak is not Korean, English, or Spanish. A language I have never encountered in any media in my entire life. The problem is that I can understand that language as naturally as my mother tongue. It was as if knowledge has been engraved in my head. Come out, Einar, second daughter of Penelin. Second, I'm used to this situation. I wonder how that can be, but it really is. At first, everything was unfamiliar, but after I came to my senses, I felt a strange sense of déjà vu. You chose a sword? It is a good choice for you who are smart. That the young barbarians choose their weapons, one after another. That's all they have in common, but this is reminiscent of the intro of Dungeon and Stone. To be precise, when Barbarian was selected from among several races, the game started in this way. But is this really a coincidence? The game I was playing when the mysterious light swallowed me was Dungeon and Stone, and even the main character I was playing was a barbarian? Oh Einar, second daughter of Penelin. Now you have become a warrior. May the blessings of Rafdonia be with you. You crazy. I decided to quit trying to clear up the remaining suspicions. Rafdonia. The tribal chief just mentioned this one proper noun, which made everything else meaningless. I now know where this place is. The world in the game I've been playing for nearly 10 years. This is Dungeon and Stone. Ah, who else is speaking? What do you mean by those words? As I glanced at the barbarian sitting next to me, I was stunned. He looked really different from the other savages nearby. What is this? Why am I here? His breath was rough, and his eyes were full of confusion. He even knows about Dungeon and Stone. Maybe he's in the same situation as me? I felt the need to check it out, but unfortunately, I couldn't even get the chance to try. Who just opened his mouth? The voice was so loud that my eardrums tingled, and my head felt dazed for a moment. Of course, it wasn't for long. I don't know how soon I came to, but seeing the chief of the tribe looking down at me made me wake up pretty quickly. Was it you? I shook my head as soon as the question was asked, and as if it came naturally, I looked at the savage sitting next to me. An act so quick and smooth that I could only admire my own self-poise. In response, the chieftain moved his gaze to the barbarian sitting next to me instead of questioning me further. I'm sorry, but you're the one responsible. Why did you have to go and open your mouth? Was it you? Yes. I asked if it was you who just mumbled. It was only now that I felt it, but the tribe chief's face wore an unusual expression. Just looking at him, the problem didn't seem as simple as somebody talking inadvertently. Oh, you mean Dungeon and Stone? Yes. Why? The guy doesn't seem to have noticed the atmosphere yet. It was you. A brief ripple of sadness passed through the eyes of the tribe chief. Feeling a sense of doom for some unknown reason, I unconsciously moved a bit to the side. Then the boy tilted his head and asked, "Is this like an event?" Oh, maybe because I noticed too soon what happened then. I couldn't even follow with my own eyes. Something flashed, followed by a blunt sound. Soak, that's all there was to it. That fleeting moment passed, and the head that fell with a dull sound rolled over and over on the ground. A sight so brutal that it seemed unrealistic. The eyes relayed the information they had just seen to the brain. A man's neck was cut off in front of my eyes. White bones and severed muscles were visible through the gap on the neck. Something white splattered on my face, along with red blood and muddy flesh. What is this? Fat? Well, I don't know. It's not as shocking as I thought. As if I was watching a movie or an anime, there was no feeling of nausea and no mental pressure, as if it was all a dream. I watched the blood spurt out of the torn throat. Only one question remained in my head. Why the hell did the chieftain kill him? An evil spirit resided in the soul of Orium, son of Kadua. Young warriors, erase from your memory all the words this evil spirit has just uttered. The moment I heard the chief's words, the information naturally compiled in my head. Information 1, I am an evil spirit. Information 2, if this is found out, I will die. Information 3, this fate could have become mine. When I came to that conclusion, chills rose in my spine, which was still intact even when my compatriot's head had been cut off. Vulcan, hurry up and report this to the temple, and take the corpse. What about the coming-of-age ceremony? I will proceed. There was a lot of blood, but the ritual continued. Thanks, it seemed that this kind of thing was common here, and no one blinked an eye wherever I looked. This was also true of the young warriors sitting around. But maybe it's because I've played so many torturous games? No one told me, but I could clearly see what I had to do now. Please finish your coming-of-age ceremony safely without anyone finding out that you are an evil spirit. If it were a friendly game, a message like this would appear. With the updated task in mind, I forcibly stopped myself from shaking, and taking my cue from the attitudes of the others, I composed my facial expression. No one should feel any sense of incongruity while looking at me. To them, I would be nothing but an evil spirit who has possessed the true owner of this body. Next. But what followed after the accident made my heart sink. Kennick's fourth son, Serum, come out. I don't know my name. This is a serious matter, with life or death at stake. If your name is called, and yet you stand still, you will definitely look suspicious. Next. Of course, you could go ahead and say you heard it wrong. Obviously, that's much more likely. But if you are asked something more to make sure, that's a different story altogether. Just if What if the chieftain asks a question because he's suspicious? I won't be able to answer anything. Next. Did these fervid emotions stimulate the hormones in my brain? Positive thoughts began to come to mind. A weak thought, if you are called at the end, it doesn't matter if you don't know your name, right? Next. I felt sorry for myself. Are you going to depend on luck? When you've never been lucky in your life, you can tell just by looking at how you were brought to this place while playing the game. For a bastard like me to get through this crisis, I need a much more plausible plan. Next. That's why I kept looking around. With my chin steadily facing the front, I looked at the expressions, movements, and habits of the others with my eyes. As I was doing this, a way came to my mind. Next. Of course, this method was not 100% guaranteed. However, the time was short, and I made the final decision that this is the most likely way I may live. Next. 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 The calling continued.